Welcome to the school board meeting, Monday, April the 8th, 2013. At this time, I will call the meeting to order and ask Mr. Gorg if he would lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Callahan, wherever you are, if you would please take the roll. And at this time, I will. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I move that the school board agenda be adopted as written.
Second. Okay, go ahead.
Motion and a second that the agenda be adopted as written. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. At this time, I would ask that you all join me in a moment of silence for Addison Ernest Lightfoot, who founded the band program at W.C. Taylor, where he taught from 1959 to 1969. He then taught music at both Marshall and Coleman schools until 1974 and retired as band director at Fauquier High School, where he taught from 1974 through 1998. Our thoughts and prayers are with Mr. Lightfoot's family. If you would join me, please, in a moment of silence. Thank you. We will move to announcements. There will be a Finance Committee meeting Wednesday, April 10th at 5:30 p.m. in the Central Complex, room A3. There will be a Personnel Committee meeting Thursday, April 11th at 8 a.m. in the School Administration Conference Room. Monday, April 15th at 6 p.m. in the School Administration Conference Room, there will be a special school board work session to discuss the FY14 budget. The Mountain Vista Governing Board will meet Thursday, April 18th at 8 a.m. in the Warren County School Board office. Chairman's Night will be Monday, April 22nd at 5 p.m. in the School Administration Conference Room. There will be a school board work session Monday, April 22nd at 6 p.m. in the School Administration Conference Room. The middle school redistricting plan will be considered for approval. There will be a building committee meeting Thursday, April 25th at 9:30 a.m. in the School Administration Conference Room. There will be a school health advisory committee meeting on Wednesday, May 1st at 8 a.m. in the Central Complex meeting room. There will be a special education advisory committee meeting Wednesday, May 1st at 5:30 p.m. in the Central Complex meeting room A. There will be a school support council meeting Thursday, May 2nd at 7 p.m. in the School Administration Conference Room. The next school board meeting is Monday, May 13th at 7 p.m. in the Warren Green Building. And at this time, I would like to thank Ms. Bannister, there she is, and all of her staff for hosting our meeting this evening. Thank you. And before we move into the redistricting public hearing, I'm going to ask Ms. Bourne to present a change, a slight change.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, members of the board. At the request of a couple of members of the board, we were asked to look at the waiver issue as we discussed it at the March 25th meeting. And I've got what was stated in the minutes of that meeting is that the school board agreed they would provide waivers for the rising 8th grade students and for the rising 7th grade students who were previously redistricted in 2008 and 2011 with parents providing transportation. We did look at that again at your request, and there's really a very minimal impact by changing that to just the 2011 redistricting. And the way that would read would be if middle school redistricting is approved, the school board agrees to offer the following waivers. If requested by parents, and if parents provide transportation, students who will be in the 8th grade in school year 2013-14 will be eligible to submit a zone waiver to remain at their current middle school. The second waiver would be if requested by parents and if parents provide transportation, students who were moved to a new elementary school as fifth graders in August 2011 because of redistricting, who currently attend middle school in the sixth grade, and who will be moved to a new middle school for the school year 2013-14 if this redistricting occurs, will be eligible to submit a zone waiver to remain at their current middle school for seventh grade, school year 2013-14, and eighth grade for school year 2014-15. And so that is a change that if you agreed to do that, it changes the parameters just slightly, but it really doesn't affect the numbers, and it really is a fair.
Okay, can you go over that last once more?
Right. It would mean that those students who were moved, who were redistricted in 2011,
Right.
and those students would have been fifth graders in August 2011, which is school year 2012. They could have gotten a waiver to stay at their existing school, but because they weren't provided transportation, they may have chosen not to do that. And so really, when we looked at that before, we didn't look at it from that perspective, and we really think it would be fair that if they weren't able to take advantage of it because of transportation. So if they were moved to a new middle school as fifth graders, and we do have some, for example, from Smith Elementary School to Brumfield that were moved, they're currently in middle school this year at the sixth grade, and next year they would be in the seventh grade. If they live in an address that would be changed under whatever plan you ultimately approve, then they would be eligible for a waiver, and we're just making that recommendation.
Okay, got it?
Yeah, but they have to meet all three points of that criteria, and that's what we have to make sure people
Right.
understand.
It means they've been redistricted twice in the last 4 years. They would have been redistricted in 2011, and then they would be redistricted again this year. And that's consistent with what you've done before.
Okay. Is everybody?
I totally support that. That'd be great.
I'm fine.
Over here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody, I hope, understands that slight change before we move to the redistricting hearing. Okay, then we will move into the public hearing. I would call your name. If you would come to the podium, state your name and your magisterial district, and you've got 3 minutes to make your comments, and we will start with Peter Huber.
Good evening. Peter Huber from the Center District, and you solved my problem already, so with the
Good.
previous thing, so I won't take up too much of your time. I have a rising 7th grader who attends Warrenton Middle School. She was redistricted from P.B. Smith to Brumfield, and that would mean if under the proposed plan, she would be going to 4 different schools in 4 consecutive years, so
Got it.
I was opposed to that. With the waiver, though, I think that will make me happy. So.
Good, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Fung Royce, followed by Denise Sheffer. Okay, Denise Sheffer, followed by Sherry Hayes.
I was going to speak to the same issue about the fourth school in 4 years.
We don't mind. You can just Fung?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
My daughter goes to Cedar Lee
If you
Middle.
would please state your name.
Fong Royce.
Thank you. And,
I'm in the district of Cedar Lee Middle School.
okay, thank you.
I just wanted to tell you that I think, with your saying that you're going to take away the music.
This is strictly for redistricting,
Oh,
okay? You can have your comments later during
Oh.
comment time,
well,
okay?
my apologies.
Okay, okay. Sherry Hayes, followed by Kyle Brown.
Hi, I'm
I'm Sherry Hayes. I'm from the Center District. My children all go to Brumfield. Well, my older daughter's at Warrenton Middle. None of my children have ever been redistricted. I've never been affected by that. They're not affected by this current redistricting plan. But I'm here as a representative of the community at large and of these families who are being redistricted. And I just think that it's an unnecessary move to even do this. And I feel like there has been very little reason given for why it's being done. I haven't seen any long-term plan as to what's going to happen when future houses are built and another redistricting is going to happen. I mean, it's a big impact on our families and on our kids. And I just think I don't think it's handled in a respectful, forward-thinking, planned approach. And we just keep doing it, and we keep doing it, and doing it. And little kids get moved here, and kids get moved there, and families get, and the same families are being moved, and I just would like to see a plan where the community is not growing completely haphazardly. We know where the proposed subdivisions are. We can look at those numbers. We can prepare and plan for the future. And I just don't think that this redistricting should happen at all right now. And I know there's very few families here who are here to talk about this, and I know that they have come to all the previous meetings and they have spoken up, and they're just tired of coming again and again and again. And so I'm here representing them. I just think you all need to not make this a done deal, because you said it wasn't a done deal. And I haven't seen any further information about why this has to happen. So I just hope you all will consider changing the way you do redistricting. I know I heard somebody say, well, that's consistent with the way we've done it in the past. Well, maybe you should change the way we do it moving forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Kyle Brown, followed by John Bowman.
My name's Kyle Brown. We live in the Scott District. I'd like to, without reiterating the same sentiments, echo those same sentiments. I appreciate her comments and agree with that. I'm asking the board to not redistrict at this time. I am in opposition to that decision. I've spoken to the board on 4 different occasions. One, I came to the school board meeting, one in person with Mr. Bland, 2 of the open houses, and I came to a 3rd and listened. So this is my 5th time being in front of you. That being said, I don't like this setup. I'll make mention of that as well. You have nice shoes, but I find this a little bit degrading. Reminds me of a Christmas story, the child who came to talk to Santa Claus.
You're not the only one.
Sure. So, that being said, I've echoed the sentiments of the belief of the board, and I do believe that the board has those best intentions, in mind. But I heard a statement from Mr. Gore along the lines of do no harm. And I don't think you're prepared to make a decision. I think any decision at this time would be harmful to, I hope, your positions on the board, as well as to the youth and the children that will be affected by the redistricting and the long-term communities that are at stake as well. That being said, I go back to my very original comments to the school board. We were told that there's no funding. Funding's the issue. I talked with my supervisor or representative from the Board of Supervisors. He tells me that you have the largest budget you've ever had at $9+ million coming from the state, in addition to the funding that was provided by the Board of Supervisors this year. I'm concerned that the school board is divorced from the Board of Supervisors in your planning, in your decision making, and in your relationships, based on what I've heard. And there is no clear way ahead. Penny wise, pound foolish in this decision. I'm not saying don't redistrict. I'm saying you're not prepared to do it at this time, and further investigation needs to be done. And I appreciate those citizens who have come forward who are aware of things that have been done in the past, who have reviewed these maps. I think your technology is antiquated as well. You need to look at some new mapping technology to run those queries, as Mr. Bland has said, and make sure that you're making sound decisions at an important time in this county's history, if you will, where it stands on the edge of exponential growth. And I'm troubled by things that are going on in the Board of Supervisors with some of the planning. Given the district I live in the neighborhood, you know, there's a tri-county highway headed through my neighborhood. So I'm here to stay, and you're going to hear from me again, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John Bowman, followed by Kelly Saint. Folks, I'll ask you, please, no applause. We would not let anybody sit out there and boo a speaker. By the same token, just let folks say their piece and move on. No applause, no boos, just say what you got to say.
Hi, my name is John Bowman. I'm in the Scott District. My son goes to see Hunter Ritchie. I am a commuter to D.C. every day, so I can very much appreciate how long it takes to get to your ultimate destination and back home at night. My concern is I'm opposed to the redistricting as well, primarily because of my son's going to be on a bus. Now it takes him about 30 minutes to get to school. We live in New Baltimore, over to see Hunter Ritchie, and the idea of going from a 3-mile commute to a 20-mile commute up and back to Marshall every day is just absurd. I don't think that I think you need to consider the fact that, you know, these are young kids, and they're going to be doing a commute, potentially be doing a commute when they get into the work life in the real world. But I think you just need to consider that these are young kids, and they're going to be wasting a lot of time on a bus.
Where do you live, Mr. Bowman?
I live in New Baltimore.
But in...
I'm off of Old Alexandria Road.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly St. Clair, followed by Brett Massey and Angie Randall.
I'm Kelly St. Clair from Center District, and I'm primarily asking you guys to not redistrict this year. I don't see why the numbers of 142 children make that big a difference. The problem, according to the past sheets that you've released, fixes itself in 2 years. And just from my neighborhood alone, we live in the town boundaries, in the center of the loop that is Warrenton. My kids can walk to Warrenton Middle School. We're just being proposed to move to Taylor, but you're going to have to actually bus children past my house to take them to Warrenton who live closer to Taylor. So I'm just asking you to not redistrict at all this year. Look at how you do the redistricting. It seems stupid to move someone who lives a half a mile from the school to another school that my children can't even walk to. And the same sentiments as everyone else.
Thank you. Brett Massey and Angie Randall, followed by Catherine Abbott.
Good evening. I'm Angie Randall, and this is Britt Massey.
Britt, I'm sorry.
Yes, Britt.
It looks like an E. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's okay. That's my writing. Well, my husband and I came before the board at the Auburn location, and at that time, you guys had stated that the decisions were not final, okay? And that if we were to come forward with a proposal, that you guys would take that into consideration. Well, we've done that, okay? Basically, what I want to focus on today, and we'll give you a handout at some point, but with redistricting, we're really not happy with the way things are being done and the way that they're being done as far as that goes. But what we do propose is that you take a look at the teachers, the bus drivers, and the county employees' children that come into the county. We as taxpayers feel that our children should have first priority and be placed in the schools that they should be placed in, that they are slotted to be. The question that you may ask is, what did we do with the teachers or the bus drivers or the county employees' children? Send them to Marshall. You told us that there were empty seats in Marshall that needed to be filled. I'm asking you to fill those seats with those children first. Place our children within the county where we belong, and then place their children. that's what I have to say in a nutshell without getting into all the specifics that I have, and to give Britt a little time.
Okay, and we reviewed all the information that we found on the website and that you've had in your minutes. I hope we tried to locate everything, and there were several other areas. Basically, overall, repeating what other people have said, it just seems like there's a lot of things that are very unclear and flawed in this process. I presented a huge, massive plan last time we were subject to redistricting. I never got any response about it, so I didn't spend as much time on this. But just looking at the things that we found, the 10-year projections that were presented last October, if you look at those, we're in the Auburn Middle School District. According to those, next year it will hit 100%. It will decline every year after that, all the way down to 88%. That's without redistricting. So back to why are we redistricting? I think those might be flawed because I don't think they have all the right information, but until we come up with some true projections and we consider all the developments that are out there and come up with some reasonable basis for making these redistricting plans, I don't think it makes sense. Also found that there was a comment at one of the previous meetings that the funding needs to be the same across all schools, which doesn't seem like a very smart thing to me, given our huge county and the different needs of everything. We've got different programs at different schools. If one school's at 80 and another's at 70%, it doesn't seem that they should be getting the same funding. And maybe that wasn't complete information, but that's what we found. Another point that I think serves what other people have said here is that now that we're a larger county, we really have different pockets of urban, suburban, and rural areas. We used to be entirely rural, so it made sense to just divide it up and use all these antiquated methods for districting kids. I think now we've gotten to the point where the rural areas, someone in town, they should walk. Or, there's many areas that don't provide bus transportation at all. That's a cost savings. It's improved health and all of that. But in addition to that, these people are growing up in a town area. We looked at the charts, and there were actually people being bused from the town of Warrenton south into rural areas, and at the same time, people being bused from rural areas into town, and that doesn't make sense. So the same can be said for suburban areas as well. We've got pockets like New Baltimore, where you've got compared to these big farming areas, you've got pretty dense population, right? So to bus these kids from what's right now a 3 or 4 mile trip to 20 miles out doesn't make sense, because that's not what they bought into when they moved here, and it doesn't make sense. And as we grow, I think that we should take it upon ourselves to move more towards a model that would provide those different pockets, those different populations, because we are a very large county. We're not entirely one type. Very quickly, I know we're probably running over on time, talk about that we can't be a feeder system of schools. I think for all those reasons that needs to be revisited. I think the feeder system makes a lot of sense, and it will resolve all of this, many of these things. And the transportation costs, finally, those don't seem to be taking, they don't seem to be in the calculation for the redistricting. It seems that those are more of a result than a factor in making the determination.
You have handouts for us?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
You could actually give those to Ginger.
Give those
to Ginger's here.
right there. Thank you. Catherine Abbott, followed by Jason Thomason.
Catherine Abbott.
Abbott.
Hi, I'm Catherine Abbott from the Scott District. I have 2 children who are currently attending Ritchie, and we live in Snow Hill and will be redistricted to Marshall Middle School. I can't really add much to all the comments that have already been made. They were all the ones that I was going to make. I just want to emphasize that I am, opposed to the redistricting plan for a number of reasons. One is that it's not the appropriate time. It has not been well thought through, and there should be a long-range plan to redistricting. And I also think that the emotional impact and the community impact on the students and the communities that are involved are just being ignored and not being given the appropriate weight. As others have said, the emotional impact on the students is really great. The community impact, is significant. It affects people like me and my husband, who are 2 working parents, and making the commute to Marshall Middle School is a significant impact on our daily lives, as well as our children's ability to participate in after-school activities. And I do think that this redistricting plan would have a long-term economic impact that is, as of yet, unforeseen and not being taken into account. So I think for all of these reasons, I think this should be reconsidered and definitely not implemented this year.
Thank you. Jason Thomason.
Hello, my name is Jason Thomason. I'm currently in the Center District. I don't know if that's going to change. I have 2 children currently in Warrenton Middle and 1 attending Brumfield, and I'm opposed to the proposed middle school redistricting plan. I've remained silent until now because I felt that my fellow neighbors who shared my sentiments have already presented valid arguments that I had hoped would either put an end to the proposed plan or at least give time to rethink the plan. But based on recent emails received by these neighbors from the board, I feel these arguments have fallen on deaf ears. I feel like the decision was already made and these public forums are just a formality that you as board members must endure to satisfy the requirements of your position. I know you all want what's best for the schools in Fauquier County. I'm sure that's why most of you ran for the position as a school board member, in order to make schools the best environment possible for the growth and knowledge of our children. But I fear this plan will create a seesaw effect in that children are moved around every couple of years to make the numbers come out right. The numbers will never come out just right and will change every year regardless, based on people moving in and out of the county, new housing developments, and just the simple fact that children grow older and move up in the school system. There are 3 homes going up for sale in my neighborhood alone, and 6 of those kids will be probably moving out of the district or out of the county altogether. So that number in my area has jumped down from 14 to 8, even before the school year started. Look, we moved to Fauquier County because we felt this was a great area to raise our kids and to establish roots within a great community. We felt the schools were great, the people were great, but now I ask, how can that be possible if we are constantly being uprooted to satisfy numbers on a map? The children in our communities are being asked to adjust to new teachers, friends, and surroundings at a stage in their lives when consistency is the better approach for this young age. I took the time to go back through all the meeting minutes, and it is noted pretty much in every meeting that this is a tough decision for the board, and that the priorities are to have equitable academic success for every student. But how is my son's equitable academic success going to suffer after spending 2 years building up relationships with teachers and students, then starting over at Taylor for 1 year, then off to high school the next? How is my daughter's equitable academic success going to suffer after my wife and I spent numerous hours working with teachers to come up with a game plan to help her with her ADD, and now we are starting all over again? What about the equity academic success of the 142 students you mean to displace? I implore the board to please reconsider this plan. Our children are not just numbers to be herded around like cattle, but if you do decide to move forward with this plan as proposed, here's another number you should consider. In the areas of Academy, Hill Vistas, Ridges of Warrenton, Breezewood, Edgemont, and Oliver City, in which 71 students are proposed to move from Warrenton to Taylor, there are approximately 640 potential voters, and I'm sure you'll find similar numbers in other areas. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Folks. Okay, that closes the public hearing, and we move on to a response to citizens' time, and I do not believe that there is a response to last month's citizens' time.
Madam Chair? May I respectfully interrupt? When I arrived at 6:59, the sign-up sheet for public speakers was no longer on the table. May I be heard briefly for the redistricting matter?
Sure. Come on.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much for your consideration. The commute was bad tonight. I'm Susan Mitchell. I spoke before you all at the Auburn Middle School informational meeting. I also sent to you, each of you, an email with regard to my street. You heard from my neighbor, John Bowman. We live on Emily Ann Court, that little-known private road, 1/10 of a mile from Route 29, 3.5 miles from Auburn, and anywhere from 11 to 16 miles from Marshall. We are currently scheduled to be rezoned to Marshall if the proposed plan is accepted. I would urge you that if the decision to rezone our side of 29, including our street, is to fill seats in Marshall, the math does not work. I have crunched the numbers. I have 6 handouts for each of you. Over the next 5 school years, on our fully developed little private street, the greatest impact in any single school year that you will get from rezoning our children is a change of 2 students.
Just leave them with Ms.
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
And in fact, that being the greatest, next year you get 0 impact because you've indicated that you will give our 4 rising 8th graders waivers, assuming that crazy commuter moms like me can find transportation. 4 kids would be leaving anyway. 4 kids would be staying because the neighborhood all has 7th grader and up, and then just 2 little ones left below that. I would urge you to look at the math. I appreciate that Marshall has seats to fill. I appreciate that Auburn has somewhat turned into Brookside Middle. But the math for our little street, 1/10 of a mile from 29 and 3.5 miles from Auburn, doesn't get you there. And it's not going to get you there. I've projected out through 2017. Anything more than a +2 pickup at Marshall and a -2 reduction at Auburn. I ask you to look at the math and not sacrifice the kids, as Dr. Mitchell indicated, the teachers' knowledge of their academic, their social, and their emotional development for math that does not get us there, maybe in exchange for an aesthetically pleasing or a convenient boundary line. And would ask you to consider those arguments as respects to my little street, because if I don't speak about it, no one else will. So thank you again for listening. I appreciate the accommodation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move to citizens' time. The school board appreciates public input. However, due to time constraints, citizens' time is not a time for dialogue. Because of the number of speakers this evening, we will limit your comments to 2 minutes. Matters relating to personal or personnel issues should not be discussed. The school board welcomes the public's comments and believes community involvement is an important component of a successful school division. And I would ask, because of the number of speakers, I'm going to call 2 names. If you're the second speaker, if you would come and kind of be like an on-deck hitter here and be ready to speak. We're going to give you 2 minutes. And if there's a group of people that would like to just have 1 speaker, and as that person speaks, if the rest of you would just like to stand, because you're going to say exactly the same thing, that's fine. We welcome that. It's going to be, I've got a number of speakers.
Madam Chairman, when I arrived on time, the list
sheet
was also gone. May I add my name to the list?
Sure, I'll just, if you'll remember at the very end. Okay? Thank you. Okay, we will start with Roger Miller, followed by Mary Kay Anderson. And Ms. Callahan, do you have the timer, or?
I do.
Okay.
And it is going on.
I thought so. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Roger Miller from the Center District. I'm here to speak on behalf of 924 of my newest friends who have signed an online petition against cutting middle school band and PE classes in Fauquier County. The petition was launched only 4 days ago and has received overwhelming support. 239 of the signers have left comments on the petition, which I have printed off for each of you. Before I read the petition, I'd like to ask all of those who are here tonight that have signed this petition to stand with me as I read it into the record. To Fauquier County elected school board members, Donna Grove, Chairman, Raymond Duke Bland, Vice Chairman, Brian Gorg, Cheryl Wolf, Maureen Rorden, Dr. Sandra Mitchell, Interim Superintendent, and our newly hired Dr. David Jeck, full-term Superintendent. Subject: don't cut music or PE classes in our middle schools by 43%. I am a Fauquier County resident, and I am opposed to Dr. Mitchell's plan to slash middle school music and PE classes by 43%. It's not fair to cannibalize the physical fitness or musical education of our students with such an unequitable plan while increasing all other class times. It's not wise to proceed with an unproven plan that had no input from our highly qualified PE and music teachers. It's not prudent to spend our tax dollars to recruit and hire a new head of Fauquier County Schools and deny our students the full benefit of his expertise on such an important decision. Vote no to any cuts in PE or music classes.
Is there much more?
That's it.
Okay,
I have
thank you.
one concluding comment. And now that I've read that, I would like to invite anyone else in the room here who has not signed this petition to also stand in support with us.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mary Kay Anderson, followed by Stephen Darcy.
Good evening. My name is Mary Kay Anderson, and I'm from the Marshall District. I'm president of the Falcon Booster Club of Fauquier High School. I'd like to make some comments this evening about the renovations to Fauquier High School. The Booster Club expressed some of our concerns about the renovations in our letter of March the 6th to Assistant Superintendent Janice Bourne. We must say that we are very disappointed that, as of today, we have not received a response to our letter. In our letter, we stated that the Booster Club is committed to not only raising funds for the athletes and athletic programs of FHS, but also for the overall school spirit of the high school. For that reason, we were extremely disappointed and confused to find that the walls of the new addition have been painted green, orange, and blue, when the school colors, prominently displayed in other areas of the FHS campus, are red, white, and gray. Green, orange, and blue do nothing to reflect the school spirit of FHS. In conversations with staff, I've heard they were told by the Director of Construction that the walls were painted different colors so that the students would know what floor their classes were on. This is a high school. Don't you think our students know how many flights they've walked up? If colors were needed, couldn't shades of red, white, and gray have been used? Or they could just put numbers at the entrances to the floors. Continuing with confusion about color selection, why would tan carpet be used in the office and green carpet in the library and green selected for the color accent of the library tables? These are not FHS colors. Another area of concern that's been brought to our attention by some of the staff is inadequate technology in the new addition. In order to use a projector in the classroom, cords must still run across the floor. This is a safety hazard. Don't our students deserve 21st century technology, the same technology used when Kettle Run was constructed?
Thank you, Ms. Anderson.
The final
Would you
area of
like to
concern
read
we
your
would like to
comments?
speak about is the mosaic wall,
Ms.
which
Anderson.
under the current architectural plans is scheduled for demolition. Fauquier County, as well as Fauquier High
We have
School,
a deputy in the
is
house this
deeply
evening.
steeped in history. This beautiful mosaic wall is part of the history of FHS.
Just cut the mic.
It's a work of
Can
art.
you cut her?
Just cut it.
Everybody gets 2 minutes. Everybody gets 2 minutes.
On your website, it says 3, and I understand you changed the time, but mine was 3 minutes.
I'm sorry, you can leave your comments with Ms. Callahan. She'll get them to us.
Someone else sign up at the end and read it.
That's fine. No, one person can sign up, the lady that already spoke. Stephen Darcy, followed by Candy Glasscock. I'm going to ask everybody, please keep your comments to 2 minutes. Everybody should have an opportunity to speak, but you can say your comments in 2 minutes.
Hi, my name's Stephen Darcy. I have children at Auburn Middle School and Kettle Run High School, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the music program there. Others who follow will probably provide statistics and numbers and make reference to the huge amount of data that's available that suggests that music clearly improves achievement in all of these other things: math, language, history, reading, and science. It really does. So I'll just make a few comments briefly here about how that might happen. So it's unclear, but recent advances in neuroscience suggest that the brain has a lot more plasticity than we ever expected, which means new neural pathways form long after the brain has stopped growing, which we didn't used to think that happened. And it can be shown that music, in fact, does grow these neural pathways. Music is used to help stroke victims recover speech, and there's lots of other ways that music is shown to increase this neural activity. And that additional cognitive power is creativity. It's what allows math students to solve problems and science students to solve problems. It's a real thing. My son, who's now a junior in Kettle Run High School, is developing a level of proficiency in music that allows him to see a page and hear the music. He would not be there right now without 2 solid years, 7th and 8th grade with Miss Mergen in middle school. He just wouldn't be there. You have developed between Auburn and Kettle Run, and I only speak about those 2 schools because they're what I know, a really excellent program. Don't eviscerate it, emulate it with your other programs. Just don't take it away. Last year at the marching assessment, I should say 2011, the marching band achieved its superior assessment.
Thank you. Time. Candy Glasscock, followed by George Murphy.
Good evening. My name is Candy Glasscock, and I live in the Marshall District of Fauquier County. I'm very proud to say that I am a product of Fauquier County Public Schools. As a matter of fact, my all-time favorite teacher happens to be Dr. Sandra Mitchell. I'm speaking with you tonight as a sentimentalist. My husband and I are what you would call homers. We both have lived in northern Fauquier County all of our lives, and we, as well as our 3 children, all graduated from Fauquier High School. We often sport our red, white, and gray, and we truly love Fauquier High. A little over a month ago, I was able to get my first look at the new renovations to Fauquier High School. I was very impressed with the lobby. The stonework is absolutely gorgeous. But my very favorite, hands-down part of the entire project is looking ahead and seeing that mosaic mural that has been a part of Fauquier High School from the very beginning. When you enter Fauquier High School, it is that mural that faces you, and your eyes are drawn immediately to it. It is that mural that welcomes you and makes you feel at home. It makes me smile with pride when I see that mural. This mural bridges our past to the current students present and then to the future students to come. How devastating it would be to tear down this treasure which has been a part of our beloved Fauquier High School from the very beginning. I feel the same way about this as I did several years ago with the Northwestern Project. I sat side by side with many people in this room who didn't want to tear down that building because it had sentimental history to us. It mattered, and it matters now. I come tonight just basically to beg you, to flat out beg you to have the plans changed so we can save this beautiful focal point of FHS, so we can save the mosaic mural, the mural that means so much to most of us in this county. Please do whatever it takes to preserve this crucial piece of our history, and which will continue to serve as a welcoming center for all who enter my beloved Fauquier High School. I would ask anybody that supports my opinion to please stand.
George Murphy, followed by Amy Lipson.
Good evening. My name is George Murphy. I'm from Center District. I'm a teacher at Fauquier High School. And I teach biology. I'd like to tell you that the renovations in science have been proceeding very well. And as I sent an email to each of you today with an update, I think we're all very encouraged. And the science department is probably 70% moved into the new building. And there have been issues, but we're dealing with them. And I must say, Whiting Turner is doing a tremendous job, and their quality of work is very good. So that's excellent. We also had big concerns about storage in the new 700 renovations in biology, and they seem to have been addressed. So again, I'm very encouraged, and I thank you for that. I would like to address the mosaic wall, and I sent you pictures today about to show you what it looks like from the front. I've heard that structurally, if we're just going to tear it down and put a window there, we could just leave it there and just fix the facing on the other side, and that would not be a problem. It seems we have enough glass in the renovation already. It's nice and bright, and having the wall at the end is very stunning. So I don't see a reason for us to have to tear the wall down, since it means so much to so many people. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Lifson, followed by Steve Torpy.
Good evening, thank you. My name is Amy Lifson. I'm with the Center District. And I wanted to ask the school board to carefully consider the motives and consequences of shortening time for musical instruction in our middle schools. First ask, is this really for the betterment of our students? Or is it for a misguided notion that the change will improve SOL scores? I don't think that's the case. In fact, numerous studies, including the U.S. Department of Education, have shown that students who learn music and play instruments do better in math and verbal skills. If improvement of student performance is really a desired consequence, then music should be made a core requirement, not a half-time elective. Our children are worth the investment. Thank you. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Steve Torpy, followed by Brooke Ann McDowell.
Good evening. My name is Steve Torpy, and I am in the Cedar Run District. To me, having music, as well as the art program, is not really all about just playing an instrument. It is about the discipline that requires to learn how to play, and it's a way for these kids to express themselves and be creative in a very positive manner. I think we all can agree that finding ways for our children to develop their creativity and do it in a positive manner is beneficial to us all. Music is just simply too important to reduce. If we continue to strip away at the things that make our children individuals, what I fear is that we are left with a very sad, gray middle school environment that lacks the foundation that allows students to be creative. With regards to PE, I feel we are raising an unhealthy generation of children, and unfortunately for many kids, PE is the only place where they will have structured physical activity. PE is much more than exercise. It's about setting a foundation of healthy living that can help them into their future years. Healthy kids do better in class and in life. In closing, I do not support, obviously, reducing the music or PE programs. If we continue to eliminate the subjects and opportunities within the middle schools that help develop our kids as creative, connected, healthy, dare I say it, competitive individuals, we're dangerously steering ourselves towards an environment where everyone is the same and creativity has been stifled. I would choose having a well-rounded, creative, expressive, competitive, healthy middle school child over a robot any day of the week. I hope you agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooke Ann McDowell, followed by Fong Royce.
My name is Brooke McDowell, and I'm from the Center District. But tonight, none of that matters, because I stand here to represent all of the students who have been affected positively by the middle school music program. Because of the middle school music program, I was able to enter the high school music program equipped to achieve superior status in Kettle Run High School. In music programs, I also found more than friends and more than teachers. I found brothers and sisters and parents. I was horribly bullied all through school, and the only place that I could find a sanctuary was among the self-identified band geeks. And I love them all to death, and they're here with us tonight. But to do that, you need to have a solid foundation in middle school that cannot be achieved by every other day or shortened time periods. To be able to find your place in any program requires a solid foundation in the early years that I would not have achieved without being allowed to participate every day for 3 years in Miss Scott's music program in this very school. I hope that you reconsider your decision and allow a new generation of self-identified band geeks and other music kids to find family, support, competition, and superiority in their field, on stages and in marching band competitions. I hope that you will take this consideration seriously and know that it's not just Brooke McDowell from Center speaking, but every band kid in the county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Royce, followed by Kimberly Huggins.
Hi, madam. My name is Fong Royce. I have a daughter that goes to Cedar Lee Middle School. Since elementary school in MMPs, she's done really well with her grades. If she didn't have music, I don't know what she would do, what I would do if she didn't have music. All these kids that make well over straight A's, honor roll, I mean, with their SOL, they do very well. Every SOLs that my daughter has given me that I've looked at, she's done really well. And she just got picked this year to be on the honor roll, society. Since 6th and 7th and 8th grade, she's made straight A's. If she didn't have music, I don't know what I would do. I didn't take music in school, but I graduated with a high school diploma. I want her to go further on in life for her, to make her life more better than mine was, not to do the things that I did, make mistakes in life, to do well in life. So I would think that you should keep the music and the PE in the school, in the middle school. She's going to the 9th grade next year. So thank you.
Thank you. Kimberly Huggins, followed by Connor Rogers.
I'm Kimberly Huggins, and I'm in the Marshall District. I think you're going to hear a lot from music parents tonight, so just saying I support all of you guys 100%. I'm going to talk about the reduction in phys ed. I would like to submit to you that it shouldn't even be on the table for reduction any more than academic classes would be. It is absolutely vital for these kids to have vigorous activity on a consistent basis. Bodies are meant to move to remain healthy, and brains need this movement to function and develop properly. This needs to be happening throughout the school day and not just have the schools depending on after-school activities to take care of it. If our goal is to truly help our children be the best they can be, this means keeping them active and not cutting back on phys ed time. This leads me to the proposed extended time for core subjects. Is the goal to actually have the kids learn or just count minutes that they have in core subjects? More time in a core class doesn't necessarily translate to more learning. With the average middle school student's attention span peaking at about 15 minutes, I don't see how going from a 50-minute class to a 63-minute class is going to help them. Did you know that some of the latest research shows that lessening classroom time and increasing physical activity time results in better focus, better retention of material, and better grades? Another reason not to cut PE. One last note, have you thought of the implications on a student level? How will some students feel when they learn they have to go to PE every day of the week, but some of their classmates only go every other day? Can you say fulminating animosity? PE wasn't my favorite class as a kid, and I know if I had to go every day, but my neighbor classmate only had to go every other day, I wouldn't have liked that too much. Please do not cut PE for any child in our schools. This is not the best thing for them in any way. If you're really serious about better outcomes for children, look to less class time, less standardized testing, more active time, and later start times for our middle and high schools. But that's a debate for another day. Thank you.
Connor Rogers followed, folks, please. Connor Rogers followed by Tammy Rogers.
Good evening, board members. My name is Connor Rogers from Lee District, and I will be going to Cedar Lee Middle School next year. One of the things I am most looking forward to is music every day. Music inspires and helps me relax. I look forward to learning to play an instrument and performing. Please do not take my dream away. Thank you.
Tammy Rogers followed by Merle Fallon.
Tammy Rogers, Lee District. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I'm here tonight to ask you to reconsider the proposed schedule change for the middle schools next year. As my son has stated, music is something that he has been looking forward to as a middle school privilege. Music inspires creativity and fosters identity. This results in self-confidence that can spill over into other areas of their education and personal lives. This can only be seen as a positive result. I am confident that my son speaking tonight is partly attributed to the confidence gained in music and performances at the elementary level. In addition, I am also concerned about the proposed change to the physical education program. Eliminating daily exercise is counterproductive. A lot of these children only get exercise at school. Although there are many that play sports and exercise outside of school, there are definitely times of the year that they too may not get daily exercise. I don't know that it is reasonable to expect these children to go all day without any downtime to burn off extra energy as well as recharge their minds. I don't believe eliminating activities such as music and PE is going to yield the result you want. Instead, I would suggest identifying what is working and expand on that. Ms. Wolf, you and I have spoken about a science pilot program at MM Pierce. This pilot program engages the students, and they are truly excited about going to class. I would suggest talking to these teachers and students to determine what can be extracted from that success and implemented in other classes and subjects. Also, I'm not sure if you've seen the anti-bullying video that the staff and administration of Cedar Lee has put together. This video is an example of the energy and creativity of our teachers and administration. I suggest tapping into this energy and creativity, encourage the staff to implement this into the daily curriculum. I understand that this is not an easy decision, and there isn't an easy solution, but I encourage the board to reconsider this proposal. Try to work within the current time parameters and schedules. Please consider the citizens' opinions who have spoken this evening, those who have sent emails and posted comments on the various websites and boards. Thank you.
Thank you. Merle Fallon, followed by Owen Sheffer.
Madam Chairman, members of the board, my name is Merle Fallon. I'm from Cedar Run District. I'm the proud parent of a Kettle Run High School senior who is going on to become a music teacher at one of our universities. I'm here today to speak with you about process, and you should be pleased that you have close to 200 people here in the audience with about 2.5 or 3 weeks of notice that the school system was considering changing the music and PE schedules at the middle schools. We haven't really had an opportunity to look at that. As I understand the process, Dr. Mitchell will make a presentation to you later today about what that will consist of. I was privileged to attend the presentation she made to the music and PE teachers on that subject, so I am somewhat aware of what's going on. One of the things that you've heard tonight is how much music adds to the overall impact of the education of our children. There's a suggestion that increasing the time for the core classes, the 4 core classes, will help with the educational level in the core classes. I would submit to you that that is not the case. I would ask you to look at some of the schools that have adopted this policy. Dr. Riddig wrote a book about 2000 or 2001. He came to Fauquier in 2011, did a study which we have a draft report of, not a final report, a draft report which recommended some of these changes, and one of the recommendations was to consider leaving things just as they are when you read that draft report. What you will not find is a review of other schools that have adopted this program and the test scores that have resulted from this kind of program. We can find you. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Owen Sheffer, followed by Melanie Birch.
Good evening. I'm Owen Sheffer from the Scott District. I first wanted to commend the administration for trying to standardize the offerings between the schools. I didn't realize how different they were until recently. However, I don't agree with the way in which you're trying to do it. My understanding is there's three main goals of the new proposal. One was to standardize the offerings, two was to increase the core time, and three was to expose children to new and more offerings. The superintendent's office consulted with Michael Reddick on the new proposal. In his book, Scheduling Strategies for the Middle Schools, Mr. Reddick states that the fewer teachers middle school students interact with, the more personal the attention there will be. Fewer equaled better. He goes on to give a following example. We once worked with a middle school that operated on a 6-period schedule. Students had 4 core classes daily. In the remaining 2 periods, 6-week wheels were introduced. Consequently, the students interacted with a total of 16 teachers over the course of a year. We asked the question, under such an arrangement, what happens to a student's sense of belonging and security? With the current middle school schedule, students interact with 7 to 10 teachers. With the new proposed schedule, we would be increasing that number to interact with up to 12, increasing the number and going against what Dr. Riddick's book suggests. Additionally, in his book, he discusses the need for funds to retrain teachers on strategies to utilize the increased class time. Do we have funds in a budget for such training? While it's only an additional 12 minutes, that's an additional 25% to the class time that the teacher now has to schedule. I think only the standardization between the schools is needed. In a recent Fauquier Now article, Dr. Mitchell boasted how well our schools had been doing and cited links to support that detail. If this is the case, why are we sacrificing beneficial programs such as music and PE to boost others? In talking with students, it sounds like their attention span of many of the children is already exhausted after the current 48 to 50 minutes. I question the usefulness of the additional time of the core class. I'd be very interested to hear from the teachers who are going to be teaching these core classes. Oh, sorry, thank you.
It's okay. Melanie Birch, followed by Carol Scott.
Good evening, I'm Melanie Birch. Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. Keep Fauquier Competitive now has 701 members. They are here before you tonight to speak to you with passion and conviction. They have signed the petition that Mr. Miller, a Keep Fauquier Competitive member, created. I'm standing before you to answer something that some of you as board members mentioned a year ago. You said we would not be effective. We were only interested in middle school sports, but here we are continuing to grow and show you we believe in our students' education far more than you give us credit for. Let's start this year on a good note. Let's come together and show our new superintendent we can work together by building a level of trust and respect. Listen to the citizens behind me without binding us to differences. Fauquier Now posted a poll and said, should Fauquier middle schools cut time for music education to provide more time for other classes? As of this evening, out of 625 people's responses, 94.5% are against the change, 5% are for it, and 1/2 are undecided. Can we have a discussion about effective communication in the classroom with the current time allotted? If there's an issue with teachability, let's look to new and exciting resources, not an extension of time. Let's be the county that gets this right and maintains the PE and music programs we so dearly cherish and regard. Let's stop looking at every surrounding county and what they do, but rather focus on our unique group of children and how we can continue to create excellence from within. And let's also be realistic. We accepted an additional 20 minutes a few years ago after that significant snowstorm, and administration said this will bring tremendous benefits to our classrooms. Yet now you want even more time. I really think we already have the time allotted, but we need to use it effectively. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Scott, followed by Abby Sheffer.
Good evening. My name is Carol Scott, and I'm part of the Scott District. I stand before you tonight as the child of two educators. Both of my parents have advanced degrees. My father was a principal. My mother is in her third education career, retiring twice, but loving it so much, she just keeps going at age 67. And so the benefit that I have of them is sometimes I go to them and say, okay, am I crazy? Am I just getting in the teacher's business? Or do I have a valid point here? So they are a great filter for me. So what I'd like to talk to you about today is many have come here. I agree with many of these thoughts, but also suggesting a potential solution. I personally would love to see the music programs continue. I am a product of a music program. I love algebra. I say music is math, math is music. But I'd also like to ask that you consider partnering with us as parents. My father and my mother have both worked in underprivileged school districts and wealthy school districts. And they have both said in all of the districts they've worked in that the biggest lack is parental involvement. And you are fortunate here, regardless of our opinions, that you have high parental involvement, and that is of great value. What I would like to ask is that you partner with parents and also offer some consistency in the classes the kids have today before you look at extending those classes. I'd like to give a quick example. My daughter left a private school, went to one of the middle schools. She went to Auburn Middle School, and in the regular English class, they were not required to do accelerated reading. They did not have spelling, and she had very little homework. And in the honors class, they did word masters, they had homework, and they had 50 AR points that were required of them. She was only required to read books in her enrichment class, yet the honors class, and if you look online, you can see that that's the case. So in a nutshell, I would like to say, please raise the standard of the current classes and look at that before you look at extending more of the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Abby Sheffer, followed by Denise Sheffer.
Hi, my name is Abby Sheffer, and I go to Auburn Middle School. I'm in chorus at my school. I was very disappointed to hear that there was a plan to cut the middle school music program. Singing is something that I'm passionate about. Not only has it improved my singing, but I believe that it improves memorization skills to help with studying for tests and SOLs. I think that music can help students do better in classes. Also, my teacher, Mrs. Harrison, has been a great influence on me in my class, and I would hate to see her leave or have minimal time with us. I was also informed that there are plans to cut gym class too. Everyone complains that kids are becoming obese, but if you cut the gym classes too, you are creating another problem for the kids. One day, all of the kids of our generation will be overweight and out of shape. And what about the kids who want to include sports and athletics in their life later on? Maybe they want to be in the Olympics. That extra workout that we will be lacking is beneficial to good health and athleticism. Even with the music program, what if someone wants to become a singer? They need that extra cost-free practice to succeed to fulfill their dreams. Thank you.
Thank you. Denise Sheffer, followed by Catherine Sheffer.
Good evening. My name is Denise Sheffer. I'm from the Scott District. I am here tonight to voice my opposition to the proposed middle school schedule changes. I am against decreases in both music and PE time. At the last school board working group, Sandra Mitchell mentioned that many teachers were upset when the proposal was presented to them in mid-March, and rightly so. For one thing, they were not part of the process. This is something the superintendent's office has been working on for 2 to 3 years, and yet the teachers were not included. Why not? The superintendent's office hired consultant Michael Reddig to work on the proposed schedule, and even he suggests getting both teacher and parent input in the process. If you cut key stakeholders out of the process, you are going to have a dysfunctional system. And this is what we currently have here in Fauquier County, and we are seeing the effects tonight. The school board talks a lot about teacher morale, and yet with these proposed changes, you are dealing a blow to all the teachers in the music and PE departments. This community is speaking out with one voice tonight, telling you we do not like these proposed changes. As an elected school board, it is your job to listen and vote accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine Sheffer, followed by Richard Griffith.
Hi, I'm Catherine Sheffer. I live in the Scott District, and I am in the 8th grade band here at Warrenton Middle School. Intern Superintendent Sandra Mitchell and her staff are proposing a change to the middle school class scheduling next year, and that would end up cutting out half of the time for PE and music programs. To me, this seems very superfluous. Why change something that doesn't need changing or fixing? There are many people here tonight speaking out for what they want, and it is your job to listen to them. These changes might not directly affect you, but it will directly impact the teachers and the students, and in my opinion, not for the greater good. One reason given for the proposed middle school schedule changes is that there is a reported high number of students that drop out of our music programs between 6th and 8th grade. I ask you to take a closer look at these numbers, and this is why. As I mentioned before, I'm in band here at WMS, and I will use it as an example. In 6th grade, we had 29 students in band. This year, in 8th grade, there are 20 students. So at first glance, it would appear that 1/3 of the band students have dropped out. During the last 3 years, we have lost and gained students moving in and out of Warrenton Middle School. However, only 6 students have chosen to quit band, and one of those was for medical reasons. So it is technically only 5 that quit of their own accord. 6 people have moved, and we have gained 4 people. If you do cut the music program in half, at the end of 8th grade, everyone will have only had a year and a half of their chosen music instead of 3 years. And later on down the road, this will start affecting the high schools as well. Band in middle school is one of those things I will remember for many years to come, and it has taught me so much. So please do not take this away from the incoming middle school students, and I strongly urge you to take a closer look at those numbers before you make any changes to the working program that we have now. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Richard Griffith, followed by Greg, and I apologize, Art Hand.
Good evening, board members. My name is Richard Griffith, Scott District. I'm a teacher, a middle school band director here in the county, and also serve as the music lead teacher. My comments that I handed out are 7 minutes, 15 seconds, but I'm going to paraphrase in 2 minutes. First of all, as a teacher, this is the first time in 28 years that I've come and spoke before the board, and there have been music cut proposals in the past. It's awkward for me tonight because the proposal was prepared by members of senior staff, principals who I've known for many years and respect greatly. One of those examples is Dr. Mitchell. I first met Dr. Mitchell when I was 15 years old as my English teacher in the American novel class. And she was the first teacher who really gave me an interest to read works of length and substance. I have a paragraph here about my experience with Dr. Reddick, but I'm going to skip that. The outcome of this proposal is a 43% cut in music instruction. I want to talk to you about 2 of the many areas music instructions are important. The first is the importance of the development of us as human beings. Music has intrinsic and aesthetic values. The second is the study of music helps train and develop the right side of the brain. I've heard lately that there is too much competition in Fauquier County music, and I think that's an unfortunate perception. Every March, our music classes participate in a state assessment. This is not a competition, but this model may be effective in use in other disciplines. In his book, The Disciplined Mind, Howard Gardner states, the criteria for evaluation are public, and students are welcome to discuss or to contest them. They have time to reflect on the performance, to practice, and to receive help. I believe that this proposal is flawed in that we need more representation from the musical and physical education departments. I'm willing to talk, if given a chance, about this and what we can do to help make things a little better. At the very least, I hope that whoever makes this decision will postpone this until the 2014-2015 school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg Art Hand, followed by Julie Scalzo. How close was it?
It's Greg Arto. It's not a name you find very often, but I'm in Cedar Run District.
Okay.
I want to offer a few perspectives on the band program, the music program, basically within the school system. First is, as a parent, my kids have all gone through public schools. My youngest is now in 8th grade and will be finishing up, and she's really enjoyed the program. And I asked her, how would this affect you when you were in middle school? I said, would you be more or less likely to drop band if you were having it half time from what you're currently doing? And she said, I would have been more likely to drop it. And I said, why is that? She said, we just wouldn't have been so good. And I was able to go see them get a superior rating, and to see the kids in the room just cheer when they got that, it was really encouraging. And then I asked her, well, but it's not going to affect you. And she said, it will affect me, because when she's in high school, she said, the kids coming up aren't going to be so good, and it's going to mean that the band won't be so good when I'm in high school. And I think it's a real opportunity for kids to excel, and it makes a big difference when kids can excel in other areas besides maybe what they're going to do in their life. The second perspective is a scientist, and I've been a scientist for 30 years. And it's amazing how many scientists that I interact with also do music or art or other creative opportunities. And you know, right now I'm missing community band because I'm here, and I'd encourage you to look at the Fauquier Times-Democrat, because our band president wrote a nice little editorial in there, and I think it summarizes for a lot of us that are in community band the way we feel about band. It's a life skill. I don't use chemistry anymore, I don't use physics anymore, and I try to avoid trigonometry whenever I can, but I play music. The third perspective is as an educator, and I taught at Yale University and I taught at the University of Georgia in the science programs, and I was on admission committees, and we took a good look at what students were doing outside of science and math that were coming into the program. And I know on several occasions I've seen people that were good at music or arts or other things, and it really helped them. So don't just look at scores and grades. It's really, who is this person? So it really makes a big difference. Thank you.
Julie Scalzo, followed by Mia Grabner.
I'm Julie Scalzo, and I'm from the Lee District, and I just wanted to build on some of the comments that were made this evening. I know music isn't important to some on the administration, but I believe there's close to 50% of the students in this county enrolled in a music program, so it's very important to the students. One of the problems with the scheduling is that music skills learned at the middle school level are very important to skills in the high school level. They need to evolve, and cutting the time short, the instructional time short, will hurt the music program at a high school level, which will hurt the assessment scores, which will lead to a dropout rate because nobody wants to be part of a school that doesn't score well on their assessments. Music doesn't draw as much attention or money as the sports program, but it does contribute to the community, such as the parades and other venues in the community. I have chaperoned at some of the parades on Memorial Day on Main Street and have heard really nice comments from the veterans that were there. And I really don't know if 13 minutes is really going to make a difference for some of those students who are struggling. Perhaps maybe a different method of teaching could be explored, or focusing on the quality of the teaching rather than the quantity of the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mia Grabner, followed by William Grabner.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mia Grabner. I'm from the Center District. It takes, on average, 3 to 4 hours for a homeschooler to teach what takes us 8 hours in a day. And we do produce excellent results. We have great children, and we have great results. So I'm not sure why we're trying to fix something that's not broken. For my children, extracurricular music or PE is an option because I can afford it. But for many families, it's not. The arts and PE classes that you give them is the only exposure they will have. Most of them will get off that bus, sit in an empty house, and do nothing the rest of the day. Extending their academic time will not ensure that they become better students. I believe we have plenty of time to teach them now. It's the quality of that time. This by no means is our teachers' fault. This is everyone's fault for kowtowing to what the state requires. If more school boards said, no, I will teach our children the way they should be taught, not just to reach SOL standard to get more funding, maybe we would actually get school reform. If you diminish the time in PE and art in middle school, you're doing our children a disservice. On the top health implications, and this is from Janelle Spencer, of cutting back on physical education in schools, studies have repeatedly found the academic benefits of arts education. They are more likely to become proficient at reading, writing, math, Arts Education Partnership, Massachusetts, 2002, are more likely to demonstrate self-regulatory behaviors during class, including paying attention, preserving problem solving, self-initiating, asking questions, taking positive risks. That's from the Art Education Partnership, Massachusetts, 2002. Show improved academic achievement levels, President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities, Maryland, 2011. Have higher attendance, graduation rates, and standardized test scores, Alliance for Arts and Education. I implore you, don't cut the arts and the PE time. We have plenty of time in class to teach them what they need to do. After a few minutes, their attention's gone anyway. Thank you.
William Grabner, followed by Patricia Baker.
I'm Willem Grabner's mom, and he is doing his, he's at Scouts right now, applying for his tenderfoot. And I told him tonight what was happening, and he wanted to come. And he said, why would they do that? PE is sometimes the only physical activity some children get every day. They'll go home with either too much homework or no motivation to go outside and play. How can you keep them healthy that way? And if you add 10 minutes to each classroom, that's 10 more minutes the teacher needs to come up with ways to keep us involved. They already have a hard time keeping our attention in class. And though I don't play an instrument, music is some kids' life. Don't take away what they love to do or cut it short. He does have children in his own neighborhood who would do exactly that. They get off the bus, they sit for the rest of the day, they have no physical activity, they can't afford to do anything else. Don't take it away from them at school. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia Baker, followed by Scott Schaefer.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Mitchell. I'm Pat Baker. I'm president of the Fauquier Education Association. Tonight, kind of off topic in a sense, but the FEA awaits board support for changes concerning wording on our second job and our work hour policies. We also continue to request a policy on intellectual property rights when electronic data is being used, and we are presently obtaining VEA information, which we will share as soon as we get it. We continue to wait for a response for our request to serve on a social media committee. The VEA has extensive information willing to share because we really feel that we do need policies in the county for social media. The FEA would ask the board to request information concerning individual school, information from each school, from the administrators, as to what the requirements are for the documentation and the standards to be measured for our formal evaluation process that went into effect July 1st of 2012. We did agree last year, when you presented this in June of 2012, that at least we would try to have the evaluation process consistent. And understanding that that may be a really difficult job from school to school with individual, maybe sometimes subjective, but those are the principal's rights. The principals do the evaluation. What we're asking for are the requirements. What standards do the schools need to cover for a formal evaluation? And how many documentations are you asking from the school? Because the only thing consistent in Fauquier right now is that nothing is consistent. Each school is doing something different. The end result may be trying to get to the same point, but it's inconsistent. We even have a school where the principal and the assistant principal are asking for two different things. Well, we may just try to take this as a learning curve, because this is and I have never gone over my minutes, but tonight I am. This is something that is very important to the educators in Fauquier County. There is a new policy coming into effect July 1st. What happens in our evaluation next year could end a career or keep a career. We need to get it right, and we certainly trust that you will, and we hope for your support.
Okay. Can you just send us an email?
Surely. Thank you.
Okay. Scott Schaefer, followed by I'm taking a stab. Holly, I'm thinking this is Hartman.
Looks like Hartman.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Scott Schaefer from the Center District. As Yogi Berra once said, it's like deja vu all over again. It seems like every spring I'm up here talking to you guys about something that's controversial with our middle schools. Last year it was the sports, this year it's this proposal. I was a very vocal proponent for the middle school sports last year and the values that it brought to our kids as well as the student bodies. It pales in comparison to this because this negatively affects our kids' education as well as their overall middle school experience. If you need any hands-on evidence as to what this proposal may do, come to the Auburn final concert. Check out what those sixth graders do. You're going to hear some basic songs, some basic notes, but they're going to play them pretty well. Then you hear the seventh graders come on there, and you're going to be like, wow, they did this in a year. This is how much better they've got. Then the eighth graders are going to come out, and they're going to blow you away. That's never going to happen again under this proposal because you're going to cut it in half. It's going to take those eighth graders, both their seventh grade year and their eighth grade year, to get to where they currently are at the end of their seventh grade year. That's a true disservice to those young musicians as well as those that want to go forward and do it in high school. So I would ask that you would really carefully consider this before you push this through. Maybe even wait till the new superintendent takes hold and let him have his input because this is a really big decision that you're about to make here. Thank you.
Thank you. Holly Hartman, followed by Judy Olson.
My name is Holly Hartman. I believe I live in the Scott District. My daughter's currently a student at Kettle Run. She was in chorus in middle school at Auburn and is in the marching band and music classes at Kettle Run. I believe there are many times that she might not have even wanted to go to school if it weren't for her music. The positive effect that it has on all the children is amazing because the attitude, especially in marching band, is you can do this, you can do anything, you can do this. Okay, you did that, now do this. Okay, you did that, let's change it a little and do this. And it just keeps going and going and going until they are so amazing. The teachers are so positive. Every music teacher that I've met the attitude is you can do this. And it might be a good lesson to all other teachers to have a little bit more of the positive instead of concentrating on the students' lack. Because when you concentrate on their strengths and you build on their strengths, they can indeed do anything in their lives. I hope you consider this very, very carefully. And I hope in my heart that you do not go ahead with this. I believe it's a disservice to your music teachers and especially to your children. They're going to be taking care of us one day. All of these kids, they're going to be taking care of us in our dotage. So help them to do this. Help them to love this county and to stay here and to volunteer in their community like all of our parents, so many of us are encouraged to do. And it's open arms. So please, don't do this to our kids and don't do this to our music teachers.
Thank you. Judy Olson, followed by Mary Cragen.
Hi, I'm Judy Olson from the Marshall District. 4 years ago, my daughter was going from 6th grade to 7th grade, and she had taken chorus in 6th grade as well as art. I am an artist by trade. That's what I do for a living, so art is something that is very near and dear to my heart. In that time frame, when she was picking her schedule for 7th grade, she went back and forth for days, if not weeks. Do I stay with chorus and give up art? Do I go with art and give up chorus? I don't know what to do. I want to do both. I can't do both. My friends at another school can do both. I was one of the parents who brought it to the attention of the Strategic Planning Committee that there was a great inequity between the schools and our scheduling. I believe that junior high school, or not even junior high school anymore, middle school children at the age of 11 shouldn't be forced into choosing music over art, over tech ed, over any of the other electives that are available to them. It's one of the last chances they have to experience some of those things, because once they get into high school, as I have now discovered, you're on the fast track to an advanced diploma, you have very few free choices to make to take some of those elective classes. So take advantage of it while you're able to. I did the math on this proposed new schedule, and by my calculations, you're talking about a deficit of 4 hours and 45 minutes per month of music instruction time over what they're currently getting, because you're talking about increasing the class time in the new program. I don't know if that's a big deal or not. I'm not a music person. I leave that up to the professionals. I hope that, and I trust that the staff knows what they're doing with this new schedule, and that if somebody out there has an idea to keep that extra 4 hours and 45 minutes and brings it to your attention, that you will consider it. I'm a big music fan too, so I'm not discounting that. I just want them to have all the opportunities. Thank you.
Mary Cragen, followed by Joshua S.
Hi, good evening. My name is Mary Cragen, and I live in the Scott District. And much what I have written down here has already been said, so I'll try to keep it brief. All 3 of my children have had the magnificent opportunity of studying music in the system, first at C. Hunter Ritchie, then at Marshall Middle School, and now my eldest is a senior and has been ever so fortunate to study with Matt Yonke at Kettle Run. And Mr. Yonke, along with the help of Mr. Aiello and Mr. Hicks, have helped lead the bands at Kettle Run to receive the highest honors in the state. And where did the dedicated band students get their start in music? Elementary school and middle school bands. I'm curious about your proposed scheduling cuts to the band program. Dr. Mitchell, you have stated that students desiring to take band would have to alternate class time with PE, and you propose this at a time when our First Lady has taken on the initiative to lower the rate of childhood obesity with her Let's Move campaign. As people have said, many students, PE for many students, may be the only chance of physical activity they receive in the day. And the school board wishes to increase the SOL scores by lengthening class time in core subjects, and I agree with the proposal to eliminate homeroom. I suggest to the board that they also dismiss class time devoted to the enrichment class time. That would leave about 45 minutes to be distributed to the core and arts classes. My youngest daughter is here tonight. She's an 8th grader at Marshall Middle School, and she looks forward to going on to band at Kettle Run next year. My eldest son cannot be here tonight. He is with at the Warrenton Community Center, practicing with the Fauquier Community Band. Thanks to his ground to start in music at CHR, then band at Marshall Middle School and Kettle Run, he continues to participate in music and give back to the community doing what he loves. Thanks also to his start in elementary school and middle school and fine-tuned at Kettle Run, he will be going on to university next year, having been accepted into the music program with a declared major of music education. I hope you listen to everyone here tonight and do what is right. Thank you.
Joshua S., followed by Alan Lombard or Lomband. There's an O on the end?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we skip Joshua?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm with.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't say he's with me. Anyway.
Sorry.
I'm really here. I don't really have much.
Your name?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought you were Joshua Smith.
Smith.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Yes, I couldn't. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Where do you live?
Lee District.
Okay. Thank you.
Everyone else has already made their points fairly clear, and I don't have a whole lot to say about this. When I heard that you guys were planning on taking away my kids' PE time and their music lessons and music time and take away that stuff, everything everyone was talking about from them, I felt a need to come up here and talk to you about it and just beg that you don't. I understand that I have a responsibility to you as much as you have a responsibility to me. I don't hold you responsible for my kids' behavior in school. That's my job to correct. I don't hold you responsible for his failing grades. That's my responsibility. I believe in a partnership between myself and the teachers. This is one area where I can't really control. I can't control what you do with the schedule. I can't tell my kid, it's okay, they called the recess bell to go inside, stay out for 15, 30 more minutes longer. It's okay, they took away this. You can still do that at school. I can't control that. If my kid's doing poor in school, my kid is obese, my kid is inactive, my kid is doing any of those things, I can work with you on that. That's my job. So I hope that you guys will listen to everybody talk, and I mean, everyone's saying the same thing. I just hope that you listen to them and you do not cut these. You don't adjust these times in hopes for SOL scores. When did we become so wrapped around these scores? Why? When did money and what we're trying to do trump what's best for the kids? I understand teachers need funding. Lord knows. I mean, my wife and I do the best we can. We give the teachers stuff for their classrooms. My wife volunteers. We help. We do whatever we can. It's pitiful that they have to spend their own money. But I don't know how you guys can do your job, and I don't know how you can get the money that the teachers need. But I would just beg that we focus where you guys started off focusing on, the kids, and leave the SOL scores out of it. That's pretty much all I have.
Okay, thank you. Alan Lombardo, followed by Rowan Miller.
My name is Alan Lombardo, Lee District, and I have 2 children that go to Grace Miller Elementary. As adults, we're not expected to sit still for 8 hours without breaks and silence filling out worksheets. It's wrong to expect that of our children. Ample developmental studies have shown that music, art, and PE have extreme benefits to our children's brain development. Everyone complains that children are acting up in school, but they're not getting the opportunity to rest between worksheets and lectures. They're not allowed to burn off their energy or given proper time to interact with others. Part of developing our future is allowing them to learn through social interaction. Children learn best through active learning. Unfortunately, the school system is so focused on test scores that active learning has been replaced with photocopies and homework overload. The children are obese with pent-up energy. We shouldn't be taking away sports, recess, which now is only 15 minutes, and PE 1 day a week. Art already has been reduced to markers and the occasional watercolor painting. Creativity and artistic expression is all vital to a healthy, developed mind. In actuality, many of the activities that are being considered for reduction or elimination should be increased and worked more into the daily agendas. Thank you.
Thank you. Rowan Miller, followed by Sally Murray. Rowan.
Hello, my name is Rowan Miller. I live in the Center District, and I'm a freshman at Kettle Run High School. I play the trumpet in the marching band and wind ensemble at Kettle Run. Our band at Kettle Run is very prestigious. I would not be in the position I am today if it weren't for having the ability to play my trumpet every day in middle school for 3 years. Now that I am in high school, it is important to the music programs that we achieve the highest rating possible in our music assessments. These assessments are like SOLs to us. We work hard all year in band class and on the field in the fall, just like any other core class. If you cut the music programs down in middle school, they will not be able to reach their full potential as talented musicians. Then, when they get to high school, we will have to tone down our difficulty level for them, as they will not have acquired the same skills as they would have originally. Music is essentially a second language. It isn't like an intramural sport. The kids in music class are there for a reason. They choose it over an elective because they like it and want to. Do not take their love of music away from them. Just because kids choose music doesn't mean they should be denied equal access to daily physical education classes. Dr. Mitchell's proposal does not value the importance of daily musical instruction, so kids that choose to learn the language of music will not have the same amount of class time or be able to have PE class each day like the kids who aren't in band. I really hope you take this to heart when you vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Sally Murray. Sally Murray, followed by the lady over here who didn't get a chance to sign. If you want to get ready.
I'm Sally Murray, Center District. I fully understand the angst of the supporters of music. My husband and I can't read music, and we don't play instruments, so we were delighted that our 3 children learned both in Fauquier County Public Schools. One of our children went on to play violin in the Juneau, Alaska Symphony Orchestra, but it was not music, which got her admitted to Duke University, where she never did play her violin. It was outstanding teachers in small class sizes and AP courses. As a parent, if I had to choose between less time spent on music and more time spent on academics or vice versa, I'd choose academics every time. I absolutely understand the passion of the folks who are in this room tonight. But on the other hand, I am disappointed in the way that the passion of parents in this county has been directed in the last 2 years. I dream of the day when the parents who will sign petitions by the hundreds to support music or sports or other co-curricular and extracurricular activities will rally instead, or also to convince our Board of Supervisors that the core of education, outstanding teachers, small class sizes, and a robust curriculum requires funding. A previous statement by somebody that $9 million more was coming in is absolutely incorrect, and I don't know where in the world they got that, so I'd like to dispel it right this minute. If you haven't been going to public hearings about the budget, you don't know what you're talking about. Where was all of this parental energy and activism at the Board of Supervisors' public hearing on the budget where only 3 people spoke in support of funding for education? I encourage parents to step back, look at the whole picture, put music in perspective in relation to the ever-growing demands on our teachers and administrators to prepare students for a world we could never have imagined at the beginning of this century and which changes every day. I strongly support the changes proposed by administration. Does that mean I have 30 seconds or my time's up?
That means you're done, Ms. Murray. Thank you.
My 3 Fauquier High School graduate children have no memory of the mosaic.
Thank you. Just, all right, yes, tell us your name, if you would, and your district.
Hi, my name is Lulu Bear. I reside in the Center Run District. Donna Grove is my school board representative, and I think we just got a dressing down, guys. In our society, credentials are all the buzz if you want people to listen to your opinion. Luckily for me, I have 4. First and foremost, my #1 credential is that I am a taxpayer. I have a vested interest in how my hard-earned money is spent in this county. Some might say that I'm a part of a special interest group, but as the person who writes the checks for Dr. Mitchell's salary and funds the school board's every whim, I'm not special. I'm the norm. I think we all are here. Next in importance is my #2 credential of being the mother of 3 children. We homeschooled them off and on throughout their education, alternating with sending them to the public schools in the county. My oldest graduated from Christopher Newport a couple years ago, and my middle daughter is studying there now. My youngest is currently a freshman at Kettle Run High School. As a matter of fact, he's rehearsing right now with the Fauquier Community Band. He plays trumpet, tuba, and bass. All 3 of my kids have been musicians. As a parent, I get the honor of running through hurdles and challenges for my students on their way to success. In my opinion, block scheduling is the most severe hurdle to overcome. Placing young minds in a class longer than 45 minutes maxes their attention spans. The proposal before you tonight is along the same line of reasoning that says more time spent in a class always equals better outcomes. I think this is foolishness. My #3 credential is that I've had the privilege of working in the school district as a substitute teacher. In that capacity, I've seen firsthand the implications of policies and frequent changes made in the name of better outcomes, better SOL scores, better retention, better this, and better that. I'm almost done. Thank you. My 4th credential is that I'm a living and breathing musician myself. I think my t-shirt says it all.
It does.
I think you can all probably read it. Life would be, what does it say?
Without music, life would be flat.
Awesome. That's all I'm here to say. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, that concludes citizens' time. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and sharing your comments, but I would ask that you please stay and listen to the proposal, the entire proposal that Dr. Mitchell is going to present to the school board for the first time this evening. So I would ask that you stay and listen and have open minds. We will move to reports and board members. Mr. Gorg, what you got? Anything?
No, besides what we have coming about the financial report, I do not have any other report at this time.
Okay. Mr. Bland?
Don't have anything other than the fact that
the two most important things that we were working on from the Personnel Committee, we've already addressed those in the work session, the biweekly pay scale change, and what was the other one here we were working on? And the health insurance policies that we're looking at as far as trying to find a way to get it into the budget and so forth.
Yeah. Okay. Ms. Reardon? I didn't have anything. Ms. Wolf?
I just have two things. First and foremost, I would like to congratulate Steve Parker for his wonderful award as the Washington Post Educational Leadership Award. It's great and well-deserved. And also to Kathy Crane, who got the award for the Agnes Meyer Teacher Award, too, if she's here. That was great.
Yep.
I know everybody's talked, but there are a couple things I really want to say. On April 20th at 9 a.m. to noon, the Fauquier Hospital is offering bring your unused meds and your sharps to dump off. To put them down your toilet or down the drain is really bad for our streams and our water. So and plus the other thing is some kids may take these drugs and bring them to school. We've seen that. So on April 20th, 9 a.m. to noon at Fauquier Hospital, you can bring all your meds that you just don't need any longer rather than flush them down the toilet. And one thing I did this last Saturday was I attended the Liberty High School SCA Future Leaders Program, and it was just outstanding. It's where the the Liberty High School SCA has future leaders, and this is the t-shirt, and if you want to see the elementary kids' names, they're on my back, and see the future leaders of Liberty High School. But what they do is the SCA students, Liberty High School students, teach these 50 elementary school students how to be a leader, have some fun, and just about becoming future leaders at Liberty High School. And what was outstanding about it was the excitement that the Liberty High School students had, but also seeing the faces of those 50 elementary school students who were just in awe of being in the big school, and it was wonderful. And also great that day was that Dr. Jack was the keynote speaker, and he was really outstanding, talking about real leadership and how we need for our elementary students to be leaders. So that was fun. The other thing I just want to really say is the Health Advisory Committee meeting. We had our first meeting of our champions, and what those are is a person from each school. We're going to have these people meet and look at health and safety and fitness at each of our schools and share ideas. And Beth Hauser, our leader of the Health Advisory Committee, has really taken that on. So we will see a lot of improvement, a lot of knowledge sharing of health and fitness throughout the county. So I just wanted to say those things. Thank you.
Okay. I'll just say for the rest of y'all, if you read the building committee minutes, they're rather lengthy. So if you've
36 pages.
Yeah, if you've got any questions, you can talk to Duke or to me at some point. But I think it's pretty
thorough.
Yeah, very thorough. And the personnel committee, the other thing we did talk about was the evaluations for principals.
Right.
And we're going to
go over that.
We're going to do that tonight. So, Dr. Mitchell, you got anything? Nothing. All righty. Yeah. We will move ahead to Ms. Kotoff and the financial management report.
Good evening. You have before you the financial management report as of February 28th. We're 67% through the fiscal year. And this report was presented to the Finance Committee in March. Two comments I'd like to make. One is we are keeping an eye on our food nutrition fund and watching how that revenues and expenditures are playing out. It still is on track to use fund balance.
Right.
The other is we're working on our March 31st ADM calculation, which is real important. It's due to the state at mid-April, and then we'll have a pretty solid idea of what our revenues will be for this year. Any questions?
Good. No.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Downs, Human Resource Department.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Mitchell. The Human Resources Report, we are preparing a list of vacancies for the upcoming school year. Currently, we have 4.5 vacancies for certified, and we have 8 for classified. We had a bus driver transportation fair last Wednesday, and we're able to secure 15 new potential bus drivers. They have not been hired, but they're going through the orientation process. And then our job fair was March 16th, and then we had 301 applicants attend and be interviewed. So we have created a nice job pool for future vacancies.
Good, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can I make a suggestion? After the consent agenda, could we possibly go to the middle school programming and schedule changes before the other 2 information items, in lieu of the fact that there are so many people here tonight that came here for that, and they have children, you know, that they have to get up for school.
Anybody?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Okay.
I have to tell Christine and Steve, I'm sorry.
Yep. Sorry.
No, so we're moving it after the consent agenda, is that right? Okay, so
Yeah, we're going to move C to A,
Yeah.
11C.
and just move the other ones down.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
We don't?
Right.
Okay, great.
We just did that. Okay, so if
Good.
I could have a motion on the
Consent?
consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that the school board approve the following: the minutes of the March 4th School Board Middle School Redistricting Public Forum, the March the 11th School Board Meeting and Public Hearing, the March 14th Joint Work Session, and March 25th Special School Board Meeting and Work Session, the payment of bills, and personnel actions.
Second.
Motion and a second that the school board approve the minutes of the March 4th School Board Middle School Redistricting Public Forum, March 11th School Board Meeting and Public Hearing, March 14th Joint Work Session, and March 25th Special School Board Meeting and Work Session, the payment of bills, and the personnel actions. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. And the motion carries. And we're going to move now to middle school programming and schedule changes, and I will turn it over to Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you. We were unable to arrange a PowerPoint presentation viewing tonight here, and I believe that Ms. Callahan made copies, 50, 60 copies of this PowerPoint presentation, because I'm going to go through that. I hope that everyone in the audience has a copy of it, but it will be posted on our website as well. I just want to talk with you first, members of the board, about why we are making this change. There are 4 primary reasons. The first is that this review was requested by parent and staff members through our strategic planning team in 2009. The second reason, that there was a concern that not all of our students had access to the exploratory and elective options, and I'll just give you a couple of examples. When we started this study, we learned that in some schools, some students never were able to take art, particularly our music students. Our music students are not able to take input technology, which is the fancy word now for keyboarding, and I can tell you why that's significant in just a second. The second were some curricular changes, and I'll mention 4 that have happened in Virginia and actually across the nation. The first is that there has been increased rigor in our content area classes, and this is not about test scores. This is about a higher level of thinking that is now required of all students. It's not, again, about test scores. It's about preparing them for college and career and making them more ready. We are very delighted in Virginia to know that now our students are not held accountable for these small, factoid, low-level things that I believe those tests were encouraging, but a more complex way of thinking, and that is requiring more time from our core teachers to do that. The second is that beginning next year, career and technical certification is required for anyone seeking a standard diploma. Therefore, to have students be able to skip all of the career and technical opportunities in middle school, if we should do that, we are doing them a disservice.
Okay, say that one again, because that's new to me.
A career and technical certification is required for anyone seeking a standard diploma.
Huh.
Economic and Personal Finance course is required for all students.
Right.
That's standard or advanced.
Right.
And that is, in effect, where our students first learn that in family and consumer science. The fourth reason is that in foreign language, we have been concerned that our students are not getting an extended amount of foreign language to lead them to proficiency. I don't have a lot of statistics on this because our middle school students are able to drop the foreign language grade. The state allows that. But I do know that in one of our high schools, 20% of the students who took middle school Spanish are having to repeat it. And we're believing that there is an issue there with the amount of time for instruction. So those are just a few when I talk about curricular changes and concerns that we have. The fourth reason is an ongoing concern that programming among the middle schools varied too widely. Some of our schools had reading, others did not. There were intervention differences. Some schools that had these intervention periods, others didn't. All students were required to participate in the intervention enrichment, some not. Foreign language introductory differences among our schools. Art differences in some schools, and I actually learned this when I met with the art teachers. Some schools, students are not getting it. Some schools, 4 weeks. Some schools, 6 weeks. Some schools, 9 weeks. Career and technical education offered 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks. It varies among our schools. And what parents were asking me is that we would try to get some standardization to do that. The next slide that you see there is actually a part of the agenda, which is a little out of place, but I'm going to go through the process, goal development, proposal, and we're going to talk about the work session too. And I'll try to go as quickly as I can. Here's the process that we used. After we received this request, we held a local review. Among my staff, we talked to principals, and I've got to admit to you, none of us agreed. There was no consensus among us because we liked what we were doing in our middle schools. It's not that they were doing anything bad. We had our own preferences. I had preferences for English. Others had preferences for history, preferences for fine arts. So we thought that we needed another lens, someone to come in to take a look at us and do a true audit. So we hired the services of Dr. Michael Reddick, who is a partner in School Scheduling Associates, in 2011. Prior to his coming, I sent a letter on August 30th, 2011, to every middle school teacher, and I mentioned to them that we were going through this and also gave them a series of questions that we would be dealing with that dealt with every subject area. I also invited them to participate in a survey. I did not receive a lot of participation at that time, and I understand that the teachers are busy, and often we don't really hear things until they begin to happen. So Dr. Reddick came. He interviewed all of the school personnel, and I will tell you that there were some complaints that he talked too much and that he did not listen to everyone, but he seemed to listen because he got a lot of things there, but he gave us a report. There were 3 statements. There were some things Dr. Reddick said that we did not agree with, and he was not there to tell us what to do. He was there to put up a mirror to us. That was his purpose in coming there. And he said 3 things that really struck us. One was that the intervention period in our middle schools needs some attention. The district needs to decide on the level of consistency related to our electives. And he also did an analysis of time for the core areas for our elective classes. He said, depending upon the quality of the intervention, 6th and 7th graders spend as little as 57% of their time in the basic academic core. And he questioned us, is that enough? PE and music electives receive the same amount of emphasis as English and mathematics. Is that your intent? That was his question to us. We then began revision options and discussion with the middle school principals. The principals shared those ideas. It was at their discretion with their staff at that time. And then we developed the goals, and the goals is on slide 5. And quickly, those goals are consistency, increased instructional time for the core areas. We wanted all of our students to have the full range of exploratory offerings because that's the point of middle school in our opinion. We wanted to maintain student teaming if we could, particularly 6th and 7th grade. We wanted foreign language exploration for all of our students so they could make better choices about foreign language in 7th and 8th grade. We wanted the extended time for high school foreign language. We wanted keyboarding for every student. That is the change I forgot to mention to you. The writing assessment, which is our only performance assessment for the state tests, the students are now required to use a computer in order to do the writing. It used to be paper and pencil, and that has changed now. So we wanted to be sure that we gave that. And I will tell you, one music teacher did suggest to me, and I did take it seriously, why did we not have keyboarding in elementary school when we were talking about this? We do not have the staff. Keyboarding cannot be taught by just anyone, but we do not have enough business staff in order to do it. The other is, I am daily concerned about the number of things that we ask our elementary teachers to do. They have to teach multiple subjects, and I am concerned about asking them to teach another course, and actually business teachers have to teach this course. The ability to provide remediation during the day at multiple points during the day. We wanted to offer a local choice option. It is not our intent to make our middle schools cookie-cutter schools. We want them to be unique. Right now, our schools, our middle schools have, some of them have drama because there is a teacher on staff who may be interested in offering that to some of our 8th graders, for instance. We want that to continue. So we have built into this plan a local choice elective or exploratory so that the schools and principals can have some uniqueness for those things that they want to offer. Agriculture is another example of that. And then we wanted to reduce the size of PE classes. In some of the PE classes, our PE teachers are teaching 40 students at a time. We think that's too many. Then that we developed our goals, then we developed a final concept proposal. My staff worked on this for a very long time. We presented it to principals at the beginning of this year. We shared concepts. We met with our middle school counselors. I met with the related arts teachers. We continued to refine the concept. We looked at sliding. Some schools do what they call a sliding schedule, which we think is a bit disruptive. And we provided a preview to you. Since the time I provided the preview, I was at Taylor at a forum for music teachers and parents who were concerned. I also met with the School Support Council, a group of parents, to talk about this very topic. And I'm presenting to you right now. So that brings us up to this particular point. I'm going to describe the concept to you. We will have this on the work session on April 22nd so that you can ask more specific questions about it. But there are some definitions that we need to know. The word core period refers to the time during which language arts, social studies, science, and math are offered. Encore period, that's a term that Dr. Reddick, Dr. Kennedy, and some others have coined. Encore is the time during which PE, music, foreign language, and the exploratory courses are taught. The exploratory wheel is a series of required courses taken in 6-week segments. That's the definition of exploratory. For our purposes today, electives are student-selected courses. Music is an elective. Foreign language is an elective. Music and foreign language are not exploratory classes. They are electives, just like they are in high school. They have a little bit larger status, I believe, in middle school. In 8th grade, those electives are art, music, foreign language, or other CTE classes. Then we have what I just defined, this local choice class, a class offered on the exploratory wheel or as an elective that's developed at the school level. In 6th grade, we are proposing that all 6th graders take those courses that you see there. Those are the basic courses. We don't have choices about that, language arts, pre-algebra, course 1, etc. Then the 6th graders have 2 encore period options. The music students, and this is what your speakers have spoken about tonight, they have 2 encore periods during this encore time. Music students take music and PE on alternating days. Non-music students take PE every day. And then during the other period, all 6th graders take keyboarding, art, family and consumer science, technology education, foreign language exploration, and the local choice I just mentioned to you. And I've given you some of the local choices that may be offered. The most important to us is the intervention sessions that may be offered for students who need them. A fitness session, we're hoping that our PE teachers will be able to offer that for music students who aren't able to take the PE, agriculture, and you see the other list that's there. In 7th grade, they take their basic subjects, and these are, I should mention this, the core subjects are 60 to 66 minutes. We're giving that discretion to the principals because buses arrive differently. They have different lunch periods. Cedar Lee has to have a longer one because they have so many students, et cetera. So they need a little room for us to work there. The 7th graders have 2 encore periods there. Music students take an alternating day, as I said before. Non-music students take PE. 7th grade differs in this manner. During the encore period, students electing to begin formal foreign language study will take foreign language first. This is their first part of foreign language. This is different. And they will take 3 exploratory courses. And then students not electing to take foreign language will take those things on the wheel, the computer applications, the art, family and consumer science in these 6-week rotations. And then the local choice is also offered as it is in 6th grade. 8th grade is different. 8th grade is when we begin electives. That's just like high school. That exploratory is, again, a required series of things we want all students to be exposed to. That's how we got to where we are at this point, because so many of our students were not being exposed to these courses. But when they get to 8th grade, they may elect to take these courses because they're preparing to go to high schools. You can see the choices there. Those of you who can see, there are, at 8th grade, there are high school courses offered at that point. Geometry is 1, Algebra 1. 8th graders may continue to elect to take music, and those that do, they take PE on alternating day. Non-music students take PE every single day. The 8th graders have these additional elective options. Students may choose 2-semester options, art, computer applications, and those things that we have already mentioned. And they can, they can take a year-long foreign language course, and that counts for high school credit. It has to be year-long for that. So that is an overview. The next slide, slide 12 and 13, show you some samples. This is not how it necessarily has to look in every school, but these are samples. The sample A, the core classes are 66 minutes. The encore periods are about 54. You'll see that in 6th and 7th grade. In 8th grade, they're 62 minutes each. If you go to Schedule B, everything is 62 minutes, including core, your encore, your music classes, your PE classes would all be the same. And this would be up to our principals to be able to choose that. Mr. Gork asked me to show some of the key differences in slide, I can't see what slide that, 14. The differences in what we're doing now, the current schedule versus the proposed schedule. In orange, the current schedule, you'll see there, our core subjects are 45 minutes to 49 minutes. We're proposing the core subjects become 60 minutes. I will tell you there are some experts that would have liked to have seen us go to 70, 80, 90. We don't think that's appropriate for middle school. So we rejected all of those options. Right now, our non-music students take keyboarding. In the proposed schedule, all students will take keyboarding. Current schedule, our CTE courses are at different lengths. Proposed schedule, all will be the same. Current schedule is a 7-period or 8-period because it differs from school to school. Our proposed schedule, 6-period. Current schedule, music is in 7th and 8th daily. The proposed schedule, music's in 7th and 8th on the alternating day, and that's what people spoke about tonight. By the way, 6th grade has always been on AB except for one school. That's one of the issues that came to my attention from parents. PE for music students daily is what we do now, and PE for music students on alternating day is the proposed. High school foreign language currently is 1 year. We're proposing high school foreign language become 1.5 years. Remediation, intervention, and enrichment period is now for all students to take or be involved in, we are suggesting that it would be for those who need it. Another one that didn't come to us until actually a music teacher brought this to me, part-time teachers now must travel during the day. If we go to an alternating schedule, they will be able to travel on an alternating day, giving them more time at the school. That was something that was a good thing. I want to be open and honest about this. There are concerns. I guess you might guess that from what you heard tonight. Reduced instruction time in music, reduced instruction time in PE. We have reduced instruction time in our exploratory classes. For those schools who were running CTE exploratory at 9 weeks, this is a reduction to 6 weeks. But I will tell you, some were doing 4 weeks, some not at all, so it was mixed. Some have said has been insufficient time for implementation. Though it doesn't feel that way to me because we've been working on it for 3 years. I did write the middle school teachers in 2011, but many say that this is a surprise to them. At any time we change anything, it's going to require some transitional adjustments. We have to accommodate the changes in keyboarding because right now keyboarding is at 7th grade, so we'd have to catch up. We'd have to make those changes in foreign language and catch up. We have professional development, but my staff is already planning of what we do if we should go through with this. We have staffing adjustments to make with those two. Those are the concerns. And then I also wanted to share with you what some teachers have told us that they are concerned about, and parents. One music teacher said that they will not be able to cover the full content. One teacher said, is when parents said tonight, why reduce the PE time when we are fighting a teenage obesity problem? That was in my March 13th meeting with them. Another parent told me, how will they perform? Actually, no, I heard this at the parent forum, and I took notes. How will they perform when they go to competition? Will they be at a disadvantage with other schools? I thought that had merit. And then I did copy for you, a parent sent this to me because I am not on Facebook, but there was a Facebook campaign, I guess, about this, and a music teacher, I thought, expressed this in a very complete way. This change, which cut instructional time and cripple our ability to maintain our very successful music programs, but I'll skip down. There was a sentence here that it affects their high school programs as well, with less students being selected for all Virginia music groups and less music scholarships for college-bound seniors. And I've talked to some school divisions that have changed. They say that's not true, but it could be. I mean, I don't know that anyone has statistics on that, but our music teacher may in fact. On the benefits, finally, we see consistent programming, ability for middle schools to continue to have some uniqueness. Our music students no longer have to choose between music and exploratory coursework in 6th and 7th, which we think is a fundamental feature of middle school. We believe this has built-in opportunities for various approaches to intervention, lots of different options. There's more time for initial formal foreign language study, and we believe increased time to deepen learning in core academic subjects, not to pass a test. We're talking about learning. And we believe that we have to prepare our students more completely. These comments I received from CTE teachers who, in my opinion, we need to focus on the purpose and meaning of exploratory courses. Students will be introduced to the possible subjects that will be offered to them in 8th grade through high school. I'm not reading all of it. A parent did write me and said that she did not want to come tonight, but I would rather my child be proficient in math and English. There. Another from a foreign language teacher. I cannot thank you enough for your part in getting expanded time to teach the first year foreign language. I think the new schedule is very creative. And I happened to be in a meeting last week where there was an 8th grade student who was working on his Eagle Scout badge, and I was explaining to the group of parents there what we were doing and the pros and the cons, and the student said to me the following: I know what you're talking about. He was talking to me. It was difficult for me to choose between orchestra and the wheel. it was a choice I didn't want to make, and that really was compelling to me. What's next for you at the school board? Here is a reality. Scheduling is not in policy. But there is not a policy about what schedules we need to have. For instance, we do not have a policy that says our high schools are 4x4, or that our middle schools are, music is on daily schedule, all right?
To make that very simple, it's not something the school board votes on.
Right, except we're asking, let me tell you what we're asking. Here, we struggled with this. One of the parents, music parents told me this. One of our neighboring school districts made this decision over the summer, and they came back and it was done. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to do this, did not want to do this in the darkness of night, you know, under the table. We've been talking about it. We wanted to do it openly. So we are asking for your vote. And we are going to, that's what we're going to talk about on April 22nd, if you want to give us a consensus. But we believe this touches every one of our middle schools. It is significant, as you heard tonight. And we'll try to I'm going to make the case for it, but I will show the both sides of that, because we just believe that it's important enough that it needs board support. So we'll be asking for that on May 13th. The work session on the 22nd, I am going to show to you a few curricular changes about this increased rigor. Did we ever have that workshop on what's changed in math?
No.
You remember you asked me for
Yes.
that? I
No.
never did that.
No.
Well, I'm not going to spend all of your time on the 22nd, because I know there's a lot to do on the 22nd. But if you could give me maybe 20 minutes, I will just show you a few of those. The others, I do want to talk with you about the timing. When we started out on this, this is a concept.
Right.
We hadn't talked about timing. We met with the principals, and remember, the opposite of this is to continue doing what we're doing now. That's lots of things.
Right.
But we can talk to you about when it might be best to do this. But I'd like to talk with the principals. I'll meet with them on the 16th, and we'll have a recommendation for you.
It's not something you think you'll implement all at once in August.
It's hard to implement this in pieces. That's what we talked about. We realized it was just difficult. So we'll
Okay.
talk with you about that.
Okay.
Because we talked about lots of ways to get started. And then I will also take any questions that you have, but there's one question you always ask me, and that is, what are other school divisions doing? And so I've already gotten that answer, because I think it's a legitimate question when other people say that we're not, when others say legitimately that they may not be able to cover their standards and things may deteriorate. Has that happened in
Right.
other places? I think it's a legitimate question. So I do have for you tonight, and I just finished this because we had a Region 4 meeting today, so you've never seen it, and my staff has copies for the audience, because I couldn't pass it to the audience until you saw it.
Right.
But it was just finished today. But this is a review. There are 19 school divisions in Region 4, Superintendent's Region 4. Sorry. And I received responses from 18 of, well, all of them.
Right.
And I can share some things that they have said to me. They said to me this morning at another time. I'm going to just close by just saying this, that it was not our intent to start out to reduce time in music. That was not our intent. We were trying to satisfy all of those goals and those original things about getting some consistency. I personally do not think it's right to make an 11-year-old choose between art and music. I believe art is important. I believe that family and consumer science is important. It's the first time they're talking about personal finance. I believe it's important, and I don't want to make students choose that. We could take more time to try to find something, but we have been working on this. We have looked, and just to see if we can. So it was not our intent to do this. I believe music is valuable in 3 ways. This is what's important to me. One is music students, I believe, studying music helps them to do better in school. I also believe that it provides a lifetime outlet. I think when you're stressed, It's a great thing to do. I've been playing my piano at home a lot lately.
So have I.
And so, though I only can play one hymn. But however, but the third is that I believe music helps the whole school. When we designed Auburn Middle School, we were in a school in Maryland. We wanted to put the library up front, and the music rooms are fairly up front because we wanted to hear music when we walked in. It helps the whole school. This is not an anti-music effort. We are trying to satisfy the needs of all programs, and my job is to be an advocate for every program.
Okay. Questions?
Yeah. You have questions, comments?
Okay.
22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I just want to give you a couple of things to think about.
Okay?
Tonight, we heard from, I don't know how many folks that we heard from, but one concern that seems to be consistent in tonight's, when people came up to talk about it publicly, was the fact that, we have this emphasis on obesity, physical conditioning, and now it looks like we're moving away from that. That's one point that concerns me. The other point is, how much consideration have we given to the rearrangement of homeroom or planning periods and all of these things? Were they incorporated into the overall plans?
In order to gain minutes, homeroom is not there. One idea that was given to us was that because homeroom is 3 minutes in some schools, it may be 15 in another.
Right.
But there was one school. But we took those minutes in order to get the time that we needed so that because we did not want to keep the music classes, those that were at 45 minutes. We thought that was too short to be going every other day. So we wanted to be sure we could get them to 55 minutes or 62, depending on the kind of schedule that you have.
The other concern that I have, and also something that seemed to be fairly consistent tonight, was how do we keep those students focused? I'm hearing that, hey, look, it's hard enough keeping them focused in the minutes that they already have. And then we're going to add more minutes. It's just, it's just this extra minutes for them to be nodding off in the la-la land, or just what?
Well, I would think that if they're nodding off right now in 45 minutes, that they will nod off. That's an issue about teaching. Our plan, however, is to give professional development on how to handle the extra 15 minutes in class. And it's not the 15 minutes that we gain, it's the total of the hour that we would gain during the week. But I think those are legitimate.
Question?
I'm going to, take everything under advisement and have questions during the work session. And I think I'm glad everybody came out tonight and voiced their opinion. I think that's really important so that you have, an idea. But I think that there was a perception out there that the process had already begun as far as we were concerned, and, that concerns me, this jumping, to conclusions that we've made a decision, that there's something that's already been done. And, I find that's really unfortunate. And it's not anybody's fault. It's just the way, things start, and then they just kind of
And can I make a comment about that?
spiral out of control.
Right.
And
I don't know that it may look chaotic, but it was important to me that I told the teachers before I told you.
Absolutely.
And so as soon as I had the meeting with the teachers, they didn't like it, the music teachers. I will tell you, there were teachers that really liked it.
Right.
But the music teachers did not, and I anticipated that.
Right.
But they have a voice, and I told them they had a right to voice their opinions about it. But that's why it may appear or feel that you were caught off guard.
Right.
But I had to tell them before
And
I
I
brought it in.
completely, agree with that, because they're the ones that are affected by it, and we are just sitting here, trying to make decisions that we think are in the best interest. I just think, going through emails that you get sometimes, just like, I'm not even here yet, I'm not even at that point, and I'm already being told that I've already made a decision, and that's just unfortunate, so.
No, I will wait till the 22nd. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and thank you, everybody, for staying and listening to the presentation. We will move to the principal evaluation standards and process, and nobody's interested in that? Really?
Don't everybody stay.
Yeah. Sure, you do not speak. You can just.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
No.
It's in a very small venue.
Dr. Wolf, are you and Mr. Parker are presenting? Thank you all.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Mitchell. Mr. Parker and I are here this evening to talk with you about the principal evaluation. This is the pilot year. At the beginning of the year, on the first slide, you see the different committee members. There's representation across all school levels, and then Mr. Parker and I co-chaired the committee.
Can we close the doors or else ask them to move on? Thank you.
Sorry about that, folks.
That's okay. The next slide talks about why we need a new evaluation tool. The State Department of Education required a new teacher evaluation tool be put in place this past July. Last year, we piloted that, and it was effective July 1. The state has also made requirements that we have a new evaluation process in place for principals beginning this July 1, 2013. So during this entire school year from August on, we worked as a committee, first under Dr. Lewis and now with Dr. Mitchell, to develop that program and pilot it. And then next year, it's projected that in 14-15, a superintendent's evaluation tool. The next slide talks about the steps to date. We met with Dr. Lewis in August. There was an abundance of research from the state, and we reviewed that, and we developed a timeline. We formed the committee. We developed options for the off-cycle year, and I'll talk about the off-cycle and the on-cycle year in just a minute. But we developed at first 3 options, and then during our revision process of our ongoing meetings, we added a 4th option. Each committee member selected which option they wanted to go with for this pilot year. And then we met 4 times throughout the year for ongoing discussion and revisions to the process. So far, we've made presentation to the leadership team and to the personnel committee of the school board. The next slide talks about the 7 performance standards, and I have to ask you to add a 7th one because there's only 6 on your slide. I will send a complete correction tomorrow to Sandra for her to send out to you.
No, there's 7. I
Oh,
corrected it.
perfect.
I corrected it for you.
Okay. Communication and
Community
community relations I left off. Those 7 standards parallel what the state has suggested, also closely parallels the entire evaluation tool closely parallels the teacher evaluation tool. The rotation cycle, there's 2 years of off rotation and 1 year of on rotation. And I've given some examples of what that might look at in the years. The superintendent and human resources will determine which year you're on which cycle. The next couple of slides talks about what off-rotation and on-rotation looks like. No matter what your rotation is, you will have to complete a 7-part goal-setting form that would be due by October 31st of each year. The term principal refers to assistant principal and principal. Assistant principals would submit it to their principal. Principals would submit to the superintendent. And then on your off-rotation year, you would complete one of the 4, and those 4 options are listed below. And then the evaluator on the off year would complete the mid-year goal review by January 31st and the annual review by September 30th. And that's a significant change because previously they were due by the end of June. Changing that date to the end of September allows administrators to have concrete data and time to give meaningful thought or mindful thought to that data, so that they're able to report out for their goals. On rotation cycle, again, you submit the goal-setting form to your administrator, and then you submit an evidence log at the end of June that would support what you have done that year in terms of working toward your goal, and a reflection statement, particularly if you hadn't met, because part of this is that student achievement, just like the teachers. And so the reflection statement is where you reflect out on what you had put in place for the year and what the disparities were. And then the evaluator completes, again, the mid-year review and the triennial comprehensive plan. And I believe, Dr. Mitchell, you've given them the draft of what those forms would look like.
Annual
Okay.
and the comprehensive. Yeah, they have all those copies.
Okay, so the recommendation is to request these standards and process be approved at the May 2013 school board meeting to be effective July 1, 2013.
And I think it's important to note, we have tried to make this parallel the teacher process. The majority of us on the committee were involved in piloting the teacher evaluation, developing and piloting it with Dr. Mitchell last year. And we've chosen to pilot that. I'm on the cycle this year.
For full eval? Me too. And I'm a focus school.
And it was important for us, for me to do that, because I wanted to go through it with my teachers. They were setting goals this year. I wanted to be setting my goals and sharing with them. And the collaboration, just like the teacher process, the teacher evaluation process, this is collaborative and collegial, and the discourse and discussion that has come from it has been amazing. Dr. Wolf told you that we developed a fourth option, a principal decision option in collaboration with the evaluator based on the conversations that we had. And we couldn't ask for a better set of administrators to work on this with. I mean, they've been really terrific and forthcoming, and it's been wonderful.
And I just want to just thank Steve and Christy, because of all the transition that we've had. They set all the meetings and got everyone together, and the meetings have been a lot of fun.
Lively.
No doubt in my mind it was lively.
I know y'all put in a lot of time.
Yeah.
Sure have.
And we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
Ready for questions?
Just can I ask a question about on the on-rotation cycle, the mid-year review, is that at the same point as the mid-year goal review for off-cycle?
Yes,
So it'd be the same?
they're all the same.
And was there a reason considered for only looking at one option for off-rotation cycle as opposed to two? Is this time? And in terms of one of the following is completed portfolio review, peer review, periodic reflection log. And the reason I'm asking, the reason I'm asking is because of, I was just thinking through people who are earlier in their career within, in being an assistant principal or principal. Has there been consideration for increasing that for those people?
And I don't think it ever came up in our conversation, but it's not a bad idea. But we do have the principal discretion one where they can choose in coordination with their evaluator to do multiple things. That is certainly an option. And I think while we didn't address that specifically, the principal developed option could be similar to that, absolutely.
So are you saying one
Instead
or
of choosing,
more of the
right.
following? Okay.
I'm just thinking through for people who are earlier into either their entry into being a principal, maybe they were an AP and now they're a principal, and working with them on specific goals that may be a little bit higher for those first few years in that position. So
Absolutely.
this is just a thought as I look through this.
And when it says peer review, who Who's at the peers? You peers, or?
And actually, we have Alex O'Dell and Steve Cadillac are doing the peer review together. And we had discussed, should it be at the same level? Should it be at different levels? Should they be geographically the same? And honestly, Auburn and Mary Walter are pretty disparate populations. And it has been beneficial to both of them. And the conversations that have arisen have been rich and certainly beneficial to both.
Okay.
Anybody else? Questions?
No, I just would like to state that I have always been concerned about these evaluations and where the state's going. But again, with the teacher one and again with this, it is really a very positive process that I'm really impressed. It's great. It's turned what could be difficult into an opportunity, just like what you're talking with a peer review. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Do we want to place it, does
Works.
the board wish to place this on the May agenda?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, works. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Mitchell, the Instructional Resource Professional Standards. And I'm not going to say that again.
Madam Chairman, we are asking that you approve the standards for instructional resource personnel. Let me tell you who they are. Our librarians, our school counselors, our instructional technology resource teachers, and other certificated professionals for whom this might apply. And just to give you some background, you may remember last year we approved some teacher standards, but we understood at the time that for these employees who don't have a dedicated class role, the teaching standards might not apply to them. So I got an advisory group of librarians, counselors, and ITRTs together. They worked respectively, and Sarah Fry helped me to pull this together at the end. So thank you, Sarah, she's sitting back there, for pulling all of this together. And we are now asking you to approve the recommended evaluation standards for these personnel. We have actually given, because we talked about this in Personnel Committee meeting, we gave tentative approval for the principals to try it out with these professionals because some of the standards for our teachers just don't fit with them, with student academic progress and things like that. But they really like these: knowledge of the learning community, program planning, assessment, program services, communication, professionalism, and learner program progress. Those are their options. They will use the same rubric as our teachers, a 5-point rubric, and the process will be the same for them. We have some work to do to be sure the processes come in line, but I think we can do that over the next few months to get that straight.
Okay. So what do you want from us tonight?
To approve it in May.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
But where are we putting this? Yeah, although will this be at the work session?
If you have some questions.
It's just standard number 7 is always my bugaboo. So I just would like to just look at that a little bit more, to understand it.
Okay, I can talk to you how to do it.
That's the only one that always.
Okay. Anything else to come before the board in open session? Please say no.
No.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then I will entertain a motion.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I move that the school board convenes a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing and considering personnel matters related to a principal candidate pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A, parentheses 1.
Second.
Motion and a second that the school board convene a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing and considering personnel matters related to principal candidates pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A, parentheses 1. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We are in closed session.